Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Goalloungetv. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we hope you stick around long enough to come back again. For those of you who are making a return, which I see is 0 people, which is fantastic. That's okay. I mean, we're still starting out. We've still got a lot to improve on. But yeah, we are Goallounge, and this is our pre-match Muti show of the Premier League, where we're going to discuss what happened last week, and we're going to discuss what's happening this weekend. So our cast consists of, at the moment, 4 guys. We have someone who's MIA. His name is Nick. I largely think it's because Newcastle finally won a game last week, so he's been celebrating the whole week. That's what it is. But we're going to kick off with Selo, or they also call him Lolo, which I found out for the first time on the weekend. I was like, no, Selo. And someone was telling me, he's like, no, his name is Lolo. I was like, Selo, Lolo. I was like, who is this? The same guy? They said, no, it's the same guy, because we're talking about another Lolo. Now I'm getting sidetracked. But anyway, Lolo is our financial guy. He's our financial Man United fan, and he has to be the financial guy because the Glazers are embezzling all the money from United, so he needs to keep tabs of that. We've got Muti, who is our Chelsea fan, once a former pro, played for Villa. He helped Tux get to promotion in the PSL. He wasn't part of the squad that got relegated, though, so we'll give him the pass there. And then we've got Wonga, who is the mighty Gunners fan, who hopefully is going to be more vocal this time around, largely because his team had a promising start. But he's also a coach at Cuba Coaching, and he's doing his badges and his coaching licenses and aspiring UEFA coach. So, yeah, who wants to kick off, lads?
Dope, man. Good to be on the show again.
I think the guys who played this weekend can kick off.
Yeah, let's start with Wonga. Arsenal.
Arsenal. Let's give it to Arsenal. They won. So.
and they kept a clean sheet.
Yeah,
imagine.
But it's not even that. It's the way they did it. Yo, guys, I've been waiting for a team, Arsenal, to play like that in a long time. I mean, you're watching Unai Emery, like I even said it last week, watching him. Yes, you could even see the players didn't know. It looked like they didn't know. Let me say it like that. Didn't know what to do. But with this weekend, there was a bit of. I know it's Fulham. I understand, but. Last year, you could have seen if Arsenal played a expected week opposition, it was dicey, But that win on the weekend, it was sure, it was purposeful, and everything. I mean, looked like it went according to plan. And a Willian, that looked like the Willian I saw at Shakhtar Donetsk before he made a move to Chelsea. So I'm just happy about everything. I can't lie. Still Shaka. It works at Fulham. I just wonder if they'll use him against Chelsea and Liverpool.
I love how you said full ham. It's like the whole ham. There's no half.
You can't have half a ham. You have to have the full ham.
Full ham, same thing. Yeah, but I'm just. That's the one thing I'm not too sure about. Shaka's not. Yeah, it's not the kind of player I would play in a team. But yeah.
It was good to see Aubameyang's cracker.
Hey, do you see that goal? And it was a replica of what he did against what was it Man City? Got the ball. I mean, as a defender, I would think to myself, try force him on the left side. But as soon as he put the thing on the right side, you knew it was going. If you look at slow motion, you can even knew when he hit it. When you could see when he hit it. Top corner.
No, interesting thing is you say it's a replica goal. It's a replica goal he scored against Liverpool and he scored against City. And then if you think he's gonna be on his right, he cuts it onto his left and he does what?
Yeah.
To Kazuma.
Yeah.
Because he killed Kazuma if he can. Yeah, Musa. Didn't Aubameyang kill?
I thought we're talking about Arsenal here. What's going on?
We're talking about Aubameyang.
I'm sure Aubameyang is senders across the league and show them a couple what it takes to perform at that level. So Zuma's not alone.
They coming?
But yeah, man, he started.
I think it's good news that apart from, I think the stroke of genius from Arteta, by the way, was the fact that they had Arsenal playing in blue. Because they had 2 away kits. The other one was the white kit, Wonga absolutely hates it. But I mean, to put Willian in a blue kit, make your dad feel at home, whip out 3 assists in the process, and get off the mark like that. I think that was a stroke of genius. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think Wonga's internally wearing the wrong shirt.
You should wear like a blue kit.
This shirt just brings back memories.
Shout out,
Liverpool know a thing or two about memories.
Guys, honestly, I felt
you don't want to get stuck in the past, Wonga. You don't want to get stuck in the past. It's a big no-no.
Yeah. But from the past, it's weird with Arsenal.
We're not last season.
We tend to see Arsenal do well, do very, very well the first couple of weeks, all the way up to November, December. Maybe with lockdown and playing behind empty stadiums, it might help them come December time into January, because that's sometimes where they falter. Historically, I don't know if you think that's the same vibe, Wonga.
No, Musa's right. That really does happen, and it's one thing to consider as well. I don't know if Arteta has that in his head as well, but that's Arsenal. They were always, before Unai, when Wenger was there, there was always a good start, and they'd be pretty well always competing. They stood there. Come next year, it went down. But another thing I also picked up, I saw it was I think the first 5 minutes. I don't know if you guys saw the game. They passed the ball to, who was it? It was
Gabriel.
It wasn't William. It was Tierney. Yes, and then they passed the ball to Gabriel. Was it Maitland-Niles who passed the ball to Gabriel? And then he left the ball, and then it went to the keeper.
And then they know what to say.
Error. Yeah, you saw that. You see that day. You see, that's the thing. That's what Arteta. What's his name? No, Pep Guardiola. That's his soccer. That's what he likes. You see.
Yeah.
But I think passing back, playing with the keeper, and I think it's good. But it's one that has to be played with such confidence. Like, yes, you point at the back, but you need to make sure that you don't make a mistake. Like, if you don't make the mistake and you do it well, you can beat any team, because you're drawing them back, and that's exactly what they're doing. He's making them all come to him. He's pulling his 3 strikers towards the defenders, and once the 3 strikers are there, it's creating gaps in the middle. You're going to try. Then what happens is you're going to see the guys trying to press, and then you try to play over them. I mean, there's much more space at the back. But you see, now if they continue it, it's fine. I mean, they will definitely continue it, but they need to make sure that they do it right. Otherwise, they're going to end up like it was Man City when Pep Guardiola just started off in the Premier League.
Yeah, no, true. I think it's a good thing that he's kind of like trying to implement his own style. So I think, with more practice, obviously Gabriel has only been there for probably like 2 weeks. I think with just a bit more games under his belt, he'll also be okay. And then obviously I think your midfield, man, against bigger teams, I don't think Elneny is the guy to play in your centre mid. I was surprised when you said Xhaka. Xhaka's been good since Arteta came. I think he's been the Xhaka that we know that he can be.
Shit, man.
Why was Elneny involved? Because I was also surprised to see that.
That guy, for me, is completely overrated. He's lasted longer because he's playing for Arsenal for some reason. I don't know why. And they've been so desperate that he is a star player in that midfield. That is one player who should have been. I mean, who wears a captain's armband? I know this is last season stuff, and we actually meant to be talking about this season. But who wears a captain's armband? Flips off the whole stadium and everything. I mean, look, Arsenal fans are a lot to deal with. Sorry about that, Wonga, but it's a true story. But he flips off the whole stand and then still comes back, and he still has a place in this team. If I was manager, first thing I say, well, dude, unlucky. You've made your bed, you've slept in it, now piss off. Done. Yeah. But somehow he's still playing, and that's the key player for you guys. And if that's the key player for you guys, that's a problem.
Yeah, I guess it highlighted how the manager was losing reins of the change room at Arsenal.
Yeah, and ultimately cost him his job.
I think they were very frustrated.
On a positive side, though, Wonga, we do know that both your new signings, they came in against Arsenal, they did the job. One got a goal, the other one got 3 assists, and on top of it, at the end of this all, Aubameyang signed a new contract. So you guys are looking good.
Very, very good.
No, that's I'm happy about. Yeah, and
he's getting the same as
Okay.
He's playing, but he's playing.
We've said too much about Arsenal, clearly.
It's enough, man.
We understand it's like their first win in a long time, but hey, man, you can't give them 20 minutes for Arsenal.
It's against the team we all said will be relegated, so let's just move on.
Yeah, and it's fair because Fulham they didn't seem impressive as well. Like they never really shone against Arsenal.
100%. Yeah, I won't lie. Even that goal that Gabriel scored, that was poor defending. That was poor.
It's going to be a tough season for Fulham, but let's move on to the cracker of the weekend. The 4-3, the game that welcomed everyone back to the Premier League. And largely, I think the one got tongues wagging a little bit for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, Liverpool beat 4-3. Who wants to comment on that? I mean, I can comment.
Can I comment first, eh? Can I comment? Yeah, no, there was a great game between United and Liverpool. I think that's the new for Liverpool. It's penalty pool. Like, yeah,
nobody's touching about penalties.
Of taking a chance.
Somebody's touching about penalties.
About taking penalties. Mossa, please talk some sense because this guy's talking nonsense.
I'm just saying that Liverpool, they won the game, yes, and they scored 2 penalties. So for this week, can we just call them penal pool?
Are we gonna say the same when the United penalties come up?
You can say it. I'll take it as much as I dish it out, man. You know what I mean?
But the only reason Liverpool got penalties this weekend was because United weren't playing. So they're like, we've got to distribute the load.
Cool. They got to keep the numbers up. The numbers of the league have to stay up.
They gave Chelsea 1 and they gave Liverpool 2. That's fair.
And the best part about it all was there was no VAR involved. So, you got to be like, that was one.
But I actually want to say something with the penalty that Liverpool got, the first one, right? That is one of those decisions where if the ref didn't give it, it wouldn't have been overturned. And because it was given, it's one of those where the VAR person at the top will say, okay, it's not a glaring mistake. You know what I mean? It's one of those where it's an interpretation thing, I think, you know what I mean? Because it hit the guy's knee.
About the one where he left his hand, like trailing.
It hit his knee first, and then it went to the end. You know what I mean? So that's unfortunate. But I think it's one of those where they say it's not a big error from the ref. It hit the hand, and it's an interpretation thing. So they gave it. So I just felt it was unlucky. But
the commentator,
the
commentator said before. He said as soon as that ball hit his hand, the commentator said that the refs have been told. I don't know how much he knows about it, but he said the refs have been told that if the guy's hand, it's no matter what, if his hand is outstretched and it hits it, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
And you saw how quickly the ref called it. He called it quick. He didn't even hesitate.
That's true.
Just like
like as soon as the hand is like flagellating, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky to be in the box and have that hand.
Yeah.
That's why most of them they now put their hands behind their back, approaching shots and the likes. It's to prevent those type of penalties.
It's quite tricky.
Tell us
I was impressed with Leeds. That's what I can say is that I was impressed with Leeds, man. It's refreshing to see a different style of football. You know what I mean? It's a team where you don't really know any player. To be honest, you can call Calvin Phillips because he was called up to England. That's the only person that I really knew in the team. But otherwise, they played well, man, and it's interesting to see how they approach the game, no matter what. And there was small tweaks within the game. They started off as a 4-2-3-1, then went to 4-1-4-1. You know what I mean, which was quite nice. But Claudia, I'm a bit concerned with your centre back, man. I think he's a bit he's a bit arrogant. He's made 3 errors.
Go to Man United fans, let them go.
He's made 3 errors that have led to goals, which is the most for any defender in the last 2 seasons. I think they said. I still think he's the best defender in the Premier League. But yeah, sometimes I think he can get a bit arrogant. What do you think?
In terms of arrogance, I think it comes with the crown, my friend. I think you got to earn that sort of confidence. I know you're saying borderline arrogance, but at the end of the day, does he underestimate his opponents a little bit? I think he does get cheekier than what he would have if he was playing against a bigger side. So against the Chelsea, I wouldn't expect him to do that. At the end of the day, I don't think it was just him. I think it was the whole Liverpool squad. They went out there, they kind of were casual about it. They knew they were going to win the game. And they just kind of changed gears when they had to every time. And it was one of those things. Leeds gave a real go of it. I was really, really impressed with Leeds in terms of what Nick spoke about last week, saying, Leeds going to be able to come there and play the game, play the Bielsa way. And you know what they did? They were impressive. They kept going until, I think, the 80th minute. They put Liverpool under real pressure. And I think there was only one time where Sadio Mane was comfortable on the ball in his own half and he skinned the player. But that was once. The rest of the Liverpool had to be on their toes, but not enough where, they were under pressure. I mean, sure, you can say that at the end. That was also the funny thing is we're talking about all Liverpool not signing players, but Leeds signed 2 players. They gave away 2 penalties on the weekend. So you could argue it was a stroke of genius from Klopp's end to let Leeds sign the players that they did. I mean, Rodrigo came on. He just clatters our player there for no reason. Real strikers.
What was he thinking?
That was strikers man.
Yeah,
but I echo that. Like the brand of football that Leeds is going to bring to the EPL is also going to be exciting to watch. I think they're not going to be a team which is going to try and play it safe on any regards. I mean, that they came up against the champions, and they actually scored 3 goals, which is quite impressive for a team that's coming up from the championship. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch how they even counter like Man United, Chelsea, and Arsenal going forward, because it doesn't look like they're going to have any reprieve until, you gotta have a little bit of depth and stamina in the English Premier League from time to time, and that may be something that they have to consider.
Like, I'm seeing Bielsa on the side, sitting on his little bucket that he sits on. I'm so excited.
It's an ice bucket. The man's getting a cooler box.
It's crazy, man.
And I'm thinking to myself, I went back home and I watched the game with my mother and Christy, and I told my mom, I said, if I was playing for this guy, I'd run straight into a brick wall. And if he told me, listen, get back, get fucking track back, do what you have to do. I'm going to do whatever it takes, because if I disappoint him, I think I would hang my head in shame, because he just gives so much. And one of Leeds are where they are at the moment. And also, we've also got to consider something. Leeds aren't just a side that made promotion and climbed up. They're not.
Yeah.
They dominated for 2 seasons in a row. They were short in the Premier and the Championship. The first season, second season, they come back and they completely dominated. So their confidence is a lot higher than what it should be, as opposed to a normal promoted side in comparison to an Arsenal versus Fulham.
Their confidence looked higher than Liverpool's on the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So full credit to Bielsa. I mean,
did you see even after the game?
What's that, Wonga?
He's leaving us with the frozen smile.
He froze. Man froze. He was saying after the game. He's back.
What was it? What was it?
Yeah, so everyone disappeared. I was like, hey, is it me? Or I saw one, but anyways, I was saying Leeds coach. Saying the Leeds coach. He was after the game, he looked more disappointed than the Liverpool side. What did he say? I mean, he felt everything was good. And I think then his last comment was that unfortunately they ended up losing a game that they should have won. Yeah. He went out there to win the game. It wasn't just to balance and make sure I get a draw. He wanted to win, and that's what I liked about it. They encourage every team to do it, anyways.
And I think it's also experience, just the experience of being in the Premier League. I think literally Liverpool showed their Premier League experience and their class. Because obviously as well, half chances like the one that Salah got was a half chance, great volley in the top corner. You know what I mean? So they showed their Premier League pedigree.
Yeah, that was a shot.
Whereas Leeds was just just a little bit. You know what I mean? A bit. They're just lacking that little bit of experience. But I think they'll be good to be in the top 12. Maybe top 10 in the Premier League. I think they must just maintain this, and then obviously. Dominate the teams that are similar to them in terms of class of players.
Yeah. In terms of in that thinking, that's exactly the same way I felt about Chelsea this weekend. We did see a lot of new signings coming onto the play. We did see a team which was a little bit lost in places.
What's just making this conversation about Chelsea? We're not there yet.
Okay. I'll leave the good stuff for later.
Wonga spoke about the experience, especially at Leeds not having them. It's well, it's £30 million on Rodrigo, who is, might I add, 30 years old. So he's got some experience, and he's played in the Premier League before. And yet the lad comes on and he gives away a penalty 88th minute. So technically, to your point, Wonga, yeah, they went out there for the 3 points, but they should have come away with the point. So you could argue Liverpool got a bit lucky in the end, but it was good entertainment value, and I think we all thoroughly enjoyed the game. Not if you're a United fan, I think the general neutral might have liked it, and a lot more so from the Liverpool side. Now, let's talk about Chelsea. Let's talk about Chelsea.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Can you proceed? Are you sure?
Can I just ask a question, man? Like,
yeah,
Kai Havertz, man. I think maybe it's just some nerves. But there was a pass that he made. It just keeps on Twitter, man. Like,
it looked like he was trying to put it back in the corner there.
He was trying to make. He was watching. He was watching too much of James Rodriguez, and he was just trying to do like James, that low, and he just, I don't know, but yeah, no, but like, you can talk about your team now.
About him, I think it was good to watch him, see him stretch his legs. That pass was probably his only pass which he actually let astray. Other passes, his first touch, his elegance of the ball, his movement is just clean. It's a good player, a very, very good player. He's very young still. It looks like an investment, like a proper investment, like Willian maybe 8-9 years ago, Hazard 9 years ago when they were coming in. He looks that type of mold of like a player that can hold their own in that place. I think it showed that he came from a big team as well in Germany, and that he's been playing consistently for the past 2 years. He never looked really out of sorts. Although at the point that you alluded to earlier, Silo, was that Liverpool managed to etch out a result without necessarily being the better team on the day, without necessarily being as expressive as they'd like to be. And that's what I felt with Chelsea as well. There were good instances of seeing a really good goal come in early, seeing them actually have the character to solidify a lead and take it on. But there were a couple of question marks about how the formation is going to look, the new players, where they're going to fit in, how everybody's going to kind of adjust, and if Lampard can actually do that with these type of players. I mean, to see Havertz a bit wider than usual was even surprising to me, and then to see them all like kind of like shifting in the middle it's going to be interesting how Lampard. It's a big job for him to now manage these type of players, these players that have like expressive roles in a team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy with what the lads did. Very, very happy with the performance. They got the 3 points, but I think there is still a lot of room to grow. But if you're collecting 3 points while you have a lot of room to grow, that's where I'm happy. I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting that Celo pointed out that pass of his that went a bit wayward. I'm going to be honest. I think I was tweeting before the game where I said, I was like, jeepers. Like, I was slightly envious about the fact that you had Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, both super young players, German talent, Germany's future, to be honest. And one thing I like about Kai, the problem with him is that he can do a lot. So when you got a player who can do so much, it's finding the perfect spot for him and also convincing him that whatever position you're putting him in as a manager is that is the perfect spot for him, and him believing in it. Because we found going a bit deeper to collect the ball, whereas that's not really where you want to see him. You want to see him in attacking third. You kind of think, okay, well, if he's coming short, it was him just trying to find his way in the team a little bit. So he was stumbling in the dark. But there was one or two things that I did enjoy. Like in the first half, there were 2 passes in particular, which you don't normally see from a player. He picked up the ball and everyone was facing towards the left-hand side, and he put Timo Werner through on goal. And he was looking one way completely, and you just knew that Timo had the pace to get there. And I loved it. I was like, this is a guy who can see the game a little bit. And then just after that, he knocked off the little rocket pocket from Brighton. What's his name? Lamity, whatever, the right back. Lamity knocked him off the ball, took a touch and whooped it in. And something could have come of that, just a slight little touch. So the quality is there in terms of vision and the quality of the ball. It's going to be time in terms of finding his place within the team.
Exactly, and that point that you alluded to, like the fact that he delivered that ball for Werner because he knew he had the pace. Those type of that type of knowledge is going to be important for them to discover as a team and as a group of players very, very quickly, because you could see they were a little bit disjointed in how they're going to piece it together, even with a massive talent. And now they kind of forced to piece it together with the next matchup against you guys. You kind of, Lampard is now the person to focus on. The players seem like they can do the job. They've got the talent and the abilities. It's just how Lampard uses them to his best capacity that matters most, I think, now.
I think with Havertz, it will be. I think his best position will probably be eventually like as a number 10, behind Timo Werner. Once DH comes back, but obviously I think it's just because obviously of the current makeup of the team, he had to obviously put the players where he felt that they could add most value. With Mason Mount being the number 10, and he's got a lot of energy in the midfield, which was interesting. But yeah, man, Loftus-Cheek just looked lost. I think he's. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's that injury that he once had. There was a time when he was he was peaking a bit, and then he had the injuries. I think him and Ross Barkley, man, are two English players that are. You don't know what you're going to get from them. You might get their version of themselves, or you might get the worst version of themselves, or you might just get a passenger on the field. So it's like he didn't really offer much. Jorginho controls the tempo. Kante made more interceptions in the match than Tottenham made against Everton. Imagine, So Kante pocket rocket doing what he does, and add value. But Ruben Loftus-Cheek, man, I can't remember what he did in the match.
So those three players, like Loftus-Cheek, Ross Barkley, and Jorginho, to me, their positions are up for the grabs, because now there's talent coming in. There's talent coming in that's going to fight for these prime positions. And if Kante is doing very well in terms of his blocking and because the way Chelsea played this weekend was impressive, but there were still a lot of opportunities for the opponents. And that I brought it down to the fault of having two defensive midfielders, yet a lot of players going through the middle. Like there were a lot of 2-touches, 1-2s flying in and around that area, and which is it then begs the question: do you need two? You could just go for one and let the rest go and put pressure on their defense a lot more of the time of the football match, which is their positions. For me, Jorginho's got to ask a couple more questions about his performance. Yes, he can score penalties. Yes, maybe he has a character that you need in a team, but with Thiago Silva, maybe that character will be there now, and then you'll have a Kante who come in with the intensity and the work effort in the middle, and then the rest can actually fly and literally torment defenses.
Well, there's only one man who flies at the moment. Timo Werner's pace is frightening. If you don't have him in your fantasy team, you're in trouble, because he is so direct. But what's beautiful is you get direct and there's no end product. This guy, every time he gets his first touch, is always going forward. He's always looking to take someone on. And if you can't take someone on, he's going to take a shot, which I'm just thinking. It just gives you so many. If I was playing behind him, I would be living, because he's. You know how rare, especially in South African football, you guys know how it is. South African football, players don't make run into space. They just stand and they demand the ball at the feet. And if you play it like 1 meter for them to run into, they stop. This guy is forever running. So that, like I said,
he's looking for 3 or 4 yards in front of him all the time.
Yeah.
You could see even the opportunity where I think Loftus-Cheek was on the break, and then he came flying on his bike to come behind Loftus-Cheek and around him. But there, it's just that type of gelling and that understanding of each other's play, where Loftus-Cheek was, if he knew him better, he would be more aware to his capacity and his skills. Yeah, exactly.
But even now, look at like I was saying, Chelsea, and I said a lot about Chelsea. I know one thing is that they're going to score goals, and the fact that Jorginho's there. Yeah, I know we chuckle about it, but I mean, a penalty must be scored, and he's probably going to put it 99% of the time. Going to put it behind, so that's what he's got pulled over the other guys. But then now, your keeper Kepa, the one that don't want to get off that time. I mean, that goal. I look at like Petr Cech.
Yeah, I know.
Check. You solid goalkeeper at the time with Chelsea. Even Edwin van der Sar when he was at Man United. Man United, yes, had a good team, but also Edwin van der Sar was, for me, I think he's still the best keeper I've seen in the Premier League. I mean, he was pulling up his weight there. He was doing things for his defenders as well. But for me, I feel like Kepa, I saw him last season, and I'm also seeing it now. I mean, it's also a big thing. The shots out the box, I mean, should be the ones that you're saving, unless it's spectacular, But I mean, that one not bubbles under your hand. Yeah, he was there. That's
yeah. He's kind of leaving. He's kind of leaving management with no
well.
option. Management have to go find a goalkeeper, or else
Lampard.
There's no other option.
That's crazy. You're playing for. You've seen what's happening at the club. You're seeing the investment.
Yeah, you have to at some point. In the professional players' stint in a club, there has to be confidence, which is given by the management, and confidence which the player kind of rides on. He's had more than enough confidence in him by management now and by the team as a whole. But if week in, week out, there are opportunities for growth, it is important that it's realized, and it seems like the Chelsea are aware of that and are, Lampard was very commendable with how he viewed his performance and his worth as a goalkeeper. But the reality is they're going to have to change him.
Yeah, but you, as a coach, you've got got you no matter.
Lampard's words.
He's stuck. Sorry, what?
No, but do you see what his words were? His words. Lampard said, they asked him, "Are you looking for another keeper?" And Lampard said he's happy with Kepa. And then he said, "But if they need competition, if a new keeper allows for competition in the team." I might not be saying exactly what he said, but he said if a new keeper allows for more competition in the team, then he's happy to bring that competition in the team. Yeah. So basically saying is no one's got the spot. Like he likes Kepa is happy with him, but if he has to change,
right? You say that as a manager, if you have no other option, you're not going to say, listen, this bloke had a terrible game. It's first game of the season, and he's your only option. The other guy's 40 years old, where he's actually older than you managing. So at the end of the day, you've got to manage that expectation. And if we just go back, there is definitely something wrong with Kepa, apart from his performances on field. I'm not sure if he's a terrible trainer or there's something. Because you've got to understand, when Lampard was playing, Lampard was regarded as one of the most hard-working trainers there ever was. Okay, that's his reputation. And then you got to say he comes in, he's not happy with him. And if we go back to when Kepa was signed by Surrey, we remember that incident against Man City, where Surrey wanted to take him off, and he told the coach to foot sack. He said, "Hey, I've never seen a player tell a coach that."
Not over here, coach.
No. Yeah, I don't want to go.
Nah, that didn't stand.
Gone to his contract. Thanks, but no.
100%.
Yeah.
For most other players, it would have been the last time they were picking up that shirt to go play in it.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, if he does that, and the manager you say Sharpie, leave him. That means he's not conceding any goals. That means there's nothing flying past him. Everything is in his hands. That's it. Not even for a corner. Everything is in his hands. If he does that to me, no ways.
Yeah, let's see what he does this weekend against Liverpool, because the last time he played Liverpool, he's conceded 5 goals. So,
but and that's the scary thing. Liverpool have the menacing. Like the fact that the penalty happened over the weekend is because Salah was actually going for goal and the likes. It's Liverpool actually have the prowess to go for goal.
Actually, I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy that we've spent so much time about Arsenal and so much time about Chelsea, but the game that was actually the spectacular game got flipping blown over by Cyril mentioning penalties. We forget to mention how lethal Salah was. I mean, his second goal was huge. It was phenomenal. Loke's touch.
I mentioned it. I said the quality of Liverpool shone through, and that's why he hit the ball in the top corner. Like, couldn't do anything. I said, I said Salah.
This one's hear it again.
Salah, I said
the league.
Let's go back to Liverpool. Okay, Liverpool. Okay. How do you feel? How do you feel about the rumors of Thiago Alcantara? There you go. You want to
rumors.
It's a done deal.
Done deal. And you know what?
Obviously it's done deal because obviously the Bayern side has said Also, the coach said he's been amazing for 7 years. I wish him all the best, whatever. So I'm just saying, obviously, it's not. He hasn't been pictured in a Liverpool shirt. That's why I'm not saying it's signed, sealed, delivered. But how do you feel about?
You can consider it signed though.
Okay, cool. How do you feel about the new number 6?
What's it? Cheaper. It's the first time since being a Liverpool fan where Liverpool have or are going to sign a player of the highest quality. Yes. In my opinion, where you're going, a player who's in the top of his game, top peak. He's won out of 12 seasons he's played professionally. He's won the domestic league 11 times. Yeah. So, and now he just won the league. So, if anything, people are talking about signing a new player. You bring in this guy into your team. You've got Van Dijk. You say is arrogant. Wait for Thiago to join the squad. The man's going to be buzzing. And
he's going to be one of the senior players in the team.
100%.
He's going to walk in there with a swagger. He's not going to take long to adjust, I don't think. The only issue is he might change the game to suit his pace because that's what he does. But the man is so absolute silk. And what's interesting is Liverpool's situation is we play out wide. We use our fullbacks to change the ball. That's what we do, especially when we play against teams that sit nice and deep. Now you've got a player who's coming into the middle, a player who can do exactly the same thing, switch direction. I'm not talking a Fabinho chip across the field, he lofts the ball. I'm talking a pure drive.
A proper passer, yeah.
Yeah, and now you've got this player who can do that through the middle. So when teams are sitting deep, he can unlock them. So, super delighted with that. Obviously, there are going to be some casualties at the expense of it. And also, you got to consider...
Who are these casualties?
Because I don't know, man, because he's saying Ox, and I'm like, man, am I going to sign Ox when Ox is going to get injured twice in the season? I'm not sure.
I'm not even looking at signings. I'm looking at players on the field because Ox, I understand he did feature, but now he wasn't really like the starting level consistently.
Yeah,
not even really. He was not. Yeah,
there's like Henderson, Fabinho, Wijnaldum. Those are the 3 players that play the most for Liverpool in the midfield, and then Keita's just an injury-prone person, but he's coming. I mean, and overage, he's an overage guy as well. We've been saying that. That's
why overage football numbers.
Man, football numbers. Man, he's from West Africa. We can't trust. But I'll be honest, man. Like I love Thiago. Thiago is a classy midfielder from the days when he used to play at Barca, when he came onto the scene, man, and like the way he's skillful, you know what I mean? So he can take on a player, use his movement or use his skill to get past the player in the midfield, and then it unlocks opportunities, you know what I mean? So imagine some players, let's say a Kante is pressing him, for instance, he can go past the Kante and then -1, and then he's already passing the ball to a Mane. I wouldn't pass the ball to Firmino because Firmino won't score a goal. I would pass it to Salah or Mane because that guy. I don't know. I don't trust him.
Did you think Firmino will score a goal?
Hey, bro, Firmino scored. Let's go. What, he didn't score at Anfield or something? I don't know. I don't know his stats or whatever. But he's apparently called a defensive striker or something. I don't know what that is, man. I don't know.
The problem here is if I start speaking about Firmino and his significance to this Liverpool squad, we're going to be here for another 2 hours. So I'm just going to ignore that comment.
Claudio, one question. Claudio, one. Okay, wait. I'm going to say actually maybe one question, right? What is the main focus of a central striker? Main purpose?
You got to the fact that you're asking a question.
No, I'm asking. It's a one line answer.
You got to pose your question, and I'm going to say the fact that you're asking that question just shows me how dated the thinking is behind that question.
No, man, listen. Do you know? Listen, right? So this past season, right? I didn't see the value of Firmino. I saw the value of Firmino in your Champions League winning season. That's when I saw the value of Firmino. You know what I mean? He scored probably like 10 goals, probably had as many assists. You know what I mean? So the value of a striker is that either you score goals or you create opportunities for other.
So he created a lot of opportunities for others.
But listen. Whether it's by your movement or your or you the guy who assists, I'm saying is that Firmino, right, is that he's not offering much threat. Okay, let me compare Firmino to Giroud.
Close. It looks like your heart is about to jump out of your chest.
Let me compare Olivier Giroud to Firmino. Ne? Olivier Giroud is not a prolific goal scorer, right? And he's shown it even for France, right? Cool, he scored like third most goals for France, whatever. But a lot of people like to complain about Olivier Giroud and say he doesn't score goals, whatever. And the thing is, he's effective in his position because he causes problems or issues. He holds up the ball well. He plays it on to the player. He's a BMT player. He scores in big moments, whatever. He'll give you a goal in 3 games. Firmino,
I think I've just found out why Man United fans don't like Liverpool fans and why Liverpool fans don't like Man United fans.
Listen. Firmino didn't shoot a goal, didn't hit a shot on target in the game. No shot on target. No, he wasn't even threatening. Like, come on, guys. Musa, tell me. Would you want Firmino?
Close, it's nothing personal, but for me,
interesting stats there. We're asking about Firmino stats, right?
No, wait. I'm going to save this for Firmino. There's literally going to be a whole episode around Firmino. Now is not the time. Okay.
Are you sure?
Move on to the next thing. And the next thing is the Tottenham-Everton game.
Yo. Everton look good.
Everton were good, I thought, just like that.
James Rodriguez, he could come up to par. Yeah.
What did I say about
Tottenham?
They were, for me, they looked. You see, for a team that's competing top 4, no way.
Yeah.
No. No.
They don't even have options which can create ignition. Like
if they get Bale, sometimes. If they get Bale and Bale's performing and he's fit, then I'm worried. Because I remember the Bale that left the Premier League. Jeez. I mean, that guy was carrying that team. He was carrying that team. If that's the same guy now, I mean, you only see him now and then, so we don't know. We'll probably see when he gets back. But if that's Tottenham's team now, I mean, they looked on the counter. Yeah, every team in the Premier League is hit. I mean, you've watched the games, every counter attack, all the teams are doing it. So I don't want to say too much credit on there. But they had a few opportunities and they didn't score them. And then they ended up conceding. But I mean, most of the time, the game looked like it was Everton's game. I mean, they were playing well. They were there. Richarlison was causing trouble, a lot of trouble for them, from what I saw. But the rest, I don't know.
They look pedantic. In my view, Tottenham don't even look like they can change it up a gear. They don't have anybody that can come on and actually add more impetus or more fire. That would have been Lucas Moura if he started from the bench, but without him, if he's starting as a starting lineup and you got to put somebody else on, I don't know who else is going to change the impetus.
It was lackluster, man. Like literally, but I foresaw this, bro. I foresaw the fact that Jose Mourinho, I don't know, man. I just didn't get the vibe. And then obviously, he takes off Dele Alli at halftime, right? And then they ask him, was it an injury? Like, no, it was a tactical substitution. You know what I mean? And I think after they said that my attackers weren't pressing Everton enough, so he was basically saying that Lucas Moura, Son, and Kane weren't pressing the Everton guys. But like Everton looked comfortable. If Richarlison had scoring boots on, should have been 2-3-0 easily. Man, like
Richarlison had
James Rodriguez was actually trying to orchestrate himself in the middle there. There was a lot of good interplay from Everton, which Everton looked like they could actually be a lot more menacing than Tottenham this season.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point, is that we didn't mention them breaking the top 7. But if you're looking at the midfield where they've got Decore and Allen, wow,
they're good.
Wow. Yeah, man, I tweeted an image of an engine just working, and I said that if you want to see the highlights, those 2 players were absolutely crucial to that team. And it's crazy how he's brought in players he likes. He's brought in players, Ancelotti, that he knows, and they've hit the ground. They've had a week with the team, not even a couple of days, and they've already performed. And that's the difference between what Mourinho's dealing with and what Everton Ancelotti's dealt with. Ancelotti's gone into Everton. they've been in a tumultuous sort of position for a long time. They brought in this quality manager. The players know shit. If I don't play, I'm leaving. Like the likes of the other Arsenal boy, Iwobi. So these guys know if I don't perform, I'm out. Whereas you got Mourinho, and I tweeted this and I said, Mourinho has inherited a brand new fridge with stale food that's gone off.
Yeah.
He's expected to make a gourmet meal.
That's a deep one, man. That's so poetic.
They say he's expected to make a gourmet meal. He killed me, but that was quite a good one.
You know, and you know what? To a certain extent, it's a peculiar phase for Mourinho, because since Porto days, he hasn't had to build a team with zero budget. And I'm not saying this is the case where he's got a zero budget, because obviously there is some money at Tottenham. I mean, the rumors of Bale coming would be a huge boost if he's fit. They're signing the left back that United wanted to sign. What's his name? Rogoyon, young left. Yes.
Yeah.
So it would be a big boost for him. But the problem is, this is a new manager who's picked up a team off the back of a poor season. They've hit the first game, and he's saying they're lazy. He's saying it's match fitness isn't there. He's saying all these things, and that, for me, means that the Mourinho effect hasn't rubbed off on these players. And it could also be the fact that, I mean, Mosso will know when you've played, and I'm sure you guys will know as well, when you've played in a team for a long time, it's the same characters. If I don't like you, that's not going to change over 3 or 4 seasons, regardless of success. Success will keep us together for a short bit. But after the success starts going, the cracks are really going to show when you don't like someone. And I think in the Spurs side at the moment, there's a lot of friction underlying the surface. And I think you've got a Kane who thinks he's a Hollywood guy. He thinks he's on the same par as Ronaldo. But the fact of the matter is he's not contributing the same way. And he's got it in his mind that his team's not good enough to back him. So he's in a flux. Do I stay or don't I go? Like, he's in one of those things where it's like, my team's not good enough to support me. And I'm not so I'm not going to give as much of what I should be, because he was atrocious. If you had to compare Calvert-Lewin to Kane, who would you rather have at the end of Saturday's game?
And that's the problem. Like, I think, that's why I commend Aubameyang for his performances at Arsenal when times are difficult. He still manages to pull out the goal, pull out something from a game, which, for a striker to still have those type of numbers, even though the team is struggling out of the top 4, it means there's some certain character which, whether he's with the team or without the team, he'll be able to progress. And that sometimes is a little bit doubtful with Kane at Tottenham, because if the team isn't on song, it's tough to see him pull him up. Well, he has created opportunities where he does that, but it seemed like this weekend was a very difficult display for him to try anything.
But if I look at Kane, I think, to be fair to him, I think he's just like we were saying about Olivier Giroud. I mean, you're not gonna get a 50-yard sprint from that guy. And I think also Kane as well. If you look at him, I mean, even I was not a Kane lover, but I mean, you can't deny. Yes, I mean, that guy, left foot, right foot, headers. If he can
finish.
Time, he's gonna bury that thing. It's going to be a goal. I think for me, you say he didn't show up, but I just think the team, nothing was happening. I mean, he tried. Yeah. I think even though counters, he tried to get in the right position. Maybe Son pulled a pass to the other guy, pass wrong thing to him, and he just didn't But I think if he gets the ball the right time, he's most likely gonna put it away. And I mean, some of the goals
he's gonna have a lot of that. He's gonna have a lot of that to contend with this season with Tottenham. He's gonna have to have a lot more him doing the hard graft for his own goals, as opposed to people behind him getting him in.
The argument to an extent, but I'm not going to dive into the actual Firmino situation. But the issue is now that the way in which the games change, and I said, I
think you've started something.
Yeah, there's a certain expectation that's been created from Pochettino, from the likes of Klopp, as well as Guardiola, where the emphasis on winning the ball back immediately starts from the front, and that's one of the few significant parts of Firmino adds. And now you've got a Kane. That's not his mold. And when Eriksen was there, first thing Eriksen did was he picked out Kane. So Kane didn't have to. It was almost like that relationship between Torres and Gerrard. He didn't have to do much. He picked up the pass, and Kane looked amazing. He had a touch, and he had a goal. Done. Now you're in a situation where Spurs are going, they're playing the Mourinho way. They're sitting back. They're playing counter-attacking. But the problem is they're not pressing from the front because Kane doesn't press from the front. And they've also got an underwhelming Ali who's been off the pace for at least a season and a half. He's been shocking. And like from the day one, if you've been watching the Spurs documentary, which I think is another added pressure which they shouldn't have had.
What is a documentary about?
It's It's behind the scenes with Mourinho and Spurs, and it's making Mourinho look like a clown, and he's working with a bunch of kids.
That's looking like a clown out there.
He's looking like a clown. I'm like, wow, that's one way to ruin your reputation. Come in charge of Tottenham and get filmed in a documentary with average players. And like the thing is, Dele Alli, fantastic talent, but he's not in it. He's not in it right now. When I say he's not in it, I mean it's either the players again, it's the setup. There's something there that's not clicking for him. And Mourinho's biggest thing is he says he doesn't train well. And the saying also, you play like you train. And it's not in a good spot.
Who was the right back that they were playing with? Tottenham.
Doherty.
You looked very impressive.
Doherty, from Wolves.
Yeah. You look good. I think Sergio Aurier had a lot of energy, but his final ball wasn't always as clinical as you'd like it to be. And it seems like Doherty can fix a lot of that for them, which might give a lot more impetus for Kane. But without Eriksen, they need a lot more energy, and Bale could be that. Bale could definitely be that. It's going to be tough times.
I'm curious to see if Bale does come. What happens? You've got Kane, who is the main man of Spurs. Now you're spending. Let's compare the two. Liverpool are spending £20 million, potential add-on of 7 million, so £27 million for a 29-year-old who's just won the Champions League and the Bundesliga. And now they're going to spend £20 million on a loan signing for Bale, who hasn't been playing, who's been on and off the pace, and now he's going to come in there thinking he's a Galactico, where you've got a player whose ambition is to be a Galactico. So on paper, it seems well, but is it going to work?
Bale has a lot to prove.
Bale is Bale, bro.
Because I hope you see. Listen, at the end of the day, you always want the best players to perform well, right? You want to see quality on the field in any game. So with Bale, I think he might want to prove a point that he's not finished, and then also, with what you've seen when Bale plays for Wales, is that he does offer something for Wales. You know what I mean? He's okay, cool. He's the man at Wales and so forth.
He's the talisman.
He's the talisman. He adds a bit, you know what I mean? Either an assist or a goal. You know what I mean? He always looks dangerous for Wales. And I think he always says when he plays for Wales, he feels like he's playing with his mates on a Sunday. That's what he says he feels like, you know what I mean? Whereas obviously at Madrid, there's all this politics, doesn't speak the language, doesn't the culture and everything and all of that. But I think with Tottenham, it's a club that he knows, he's familiar with. He's familiar with owners. It's the same owners when he was still playing there. Cool. The backroom staff have changed. The players have changed. Ledley King is there as an assistant coach, so at least there's someone that he is familiar with. The only thing is that, can he stay fit? You know what I mean? That's the thing, is that that's the question. Can he stay fit? And
can he actually show us his Bale? Because honestly, the same reason why we're happy with seeing James at Everton is the exact same reason why Bale could actually be a very good fit for Tottenham. The fact that these are players which we've been excited about. They've expressed hints of their talent over time, but because they went to a club like Real Madrid, which was star-studded, left, right, and center, they never got the opportunities which they deserved. And potentially they can make their mark at teams with the fewer stars to contend with, literally. And they'll have more opportunities to fight for positions as opposed to at Real Madrid. So, but it could work. It could work. For Tottenham need that type of energy. Without somebody actually putting other defenses on their back foot the whole day, it's going to be difficult for Tottenham.
Yeah, before we move on, and I think that's a valid point, is the Mourinho effect in terms of uplifting the players, energizing players, that hasn't happened. So I think the next thing is bringing in a star player. Hopefully he gets players to walk around on their toes a little bit. Before we move on, Bonga, do you have any closing thoughts with regards to the Tottenham-Everton game?
Oh, no, not in the game. Look, for me,
about the situation.
Pardon?
About the situation.
Oh, okay. So for me, I was just gonna say Gareth Bale. I just think that he's Gareth Bale. He doesn't have anything to prove, and I think that. I mean, he was saying that it was a Galactico. I think he deserves. I mean, he can be written. They wouldn't put him down as a legend, but the guy was there when they won the three Champions League. Yeah, I know they hate him, but he helped them. Like,
he's a
without
dog legend.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have had. I know they hate him. He's there.
I was thinking of Madrid fans.
Yeah.
I was behind the goal carriers dropped the balls, by the way. But I was behind
That's a very expensive legend.
I had a granny at the flag. As soon as Bale came off the bench, before he scored the bicycle, might I add, this granny was saying, get him off. Yeah. And they were like, wolf fisting. They hate that. They hate him.
No, they hate him, man. They hate him. Literally, I think
he did what he did. Like, you can't deny it.
In history, he's gonna be that player where they said, cool, he contributed to them winning some titles, but at the end of the day, they just was never a good fit, man. I think his best times were Ancelotti and maybe Zidane's first season, but otherwise, he's been a bit pod player. Cool, yes, he scored 105 goals for Madrid, which is what he's number. I think he's number 7 in the last in the 21st century of goals for Real Madrid, which bad. I mean, but I just think that Real Madrid fans are happy that he's gone.
Yeah, and he's expensive.
600,000 pounds.
Yeah, rather just let go of him and move on.
Guy, what I'm saying is, whether they're happy about him or not, I'm just saying that, look, the guy he's got the potential. You know, he came out of that Tottenham hot. Everyone probably knew where he was going. Yeah,
they called Tottenham hot. He was there.
Everyone knew that. I mean, the season that Gareth Bale had, he couldn't stay at Tottenham. He carried Tottenham. That's a player that, I mean, your Barcelona's and Madrid are looking for, and boom, got him. And I think he's still got I still think he's got the potential. Like, if he manages to stay away from the injuries, he's still got the potential to carry Tottenham. I mean, his set pieces is good. Penalties he could probably take. Aerial, he's good. He's quick.
He'll terrorize a lot of defenders as well.
At Tottenham, Harry Kane takes everything, guys.
Not the free kicks.
Harry Kane has to also understand there's other stars.
All right. So because in case people didn't notice, we are missing Nick, and he normally covers the Newcastle segment. I do want to say he must have been excited because he said Callum Wilson's going to score in his debut, and he did do that. They had a good win against troublesome West Ham, who looked like they're in big trouble with David Moyes, as well as having a fallout with their captain Noble. So that's a bit of an interesting situation. But we're not going to talk much about Newcastle because we've already spent so much time. So that's Nick's fault for not being here. We're going to talk about
next. To get their first win though. Like, they have to just get 8 wins and survive, and then that's it. Then we can actually tell Nick to chill for the rest of the season.
Yeah, they targeted 40 points, so at least they got the first 3.
Yeah, you know what I find quite funny is he sent me a video which we'll put up on Facebook afterwards to talk about his thoughts. But he started off the video by saying, "I'm super excited. We got our first win, and we are actually in the top 4 at the moment as the league stands." I had to move my mind. I had to be like, "Wow, what is it like to be a Newcastle fan?" You know, that's pretty.
Geordie. Yeah, but listen, I'll give him 1 minute of Newcastle. I think the game was interesting, man. John Shelby was obviously laying the passes out, showing his class. But it was quite interesting to see Callum Wilson playing with Andy Carroll up front, man. Like, it was quite an interesting pairing. You know, Carroll fighting for the balls. Carroll's not gifted on the feet. You know, it was just an interesting game. Obviously, they their chances, and then I think West Ham, they were just unfortunate to hit the post. But yeah, as you said, West Ham have a long season ahead of them. And the bit of troubles, the fans want the owners to go and so forth. So I think they just David Moyes might be top 3 candidates to get fired.
I agree with that.
No, I feel you. I also think so. It's already a mess inside there. Yeah.
I was super excited to see the goals this past weekend.
So goal of the weekend? before we move on? Thoughts on that? For the goal of the week.
The first Leeds goal for me. Just that pass from Calvin Phillips, and then that the left winger just put it down, with the foot, and then went past Trent Alexander-Arnold like he wasn't there, and then obviously cut past. And yeah, he wasn't actually. You're right. He wasn't there at all. And then went past Gomez, and then obviously was a good shot into the corner. I think just the construction of the goal. That was my goal of the weekend.
For me, it was Reece James.
Mine.
I think we were fortunate to see really, really good goals this past weekend. And that one is definitely up there. He struck it from outside the box, proper top corner type of goal. Can't complain. Like was after play was a little bit delayed, and like Chelsea had to show a little bit of character, and that's exactly what happened. So it was the right goal at the right time, and it adds more impetus to the team. So that's for me the goal of the weekend.
So Musa, I never got that. Which one you said? This thing is freezing.
The Reece James, the Reece James one, where he hit top corner from about 20, 25 yards out the box. He laid it up beautifully, did the right thing, and keeper had no chance.
He did this, and then he shot.
Jade Cunningham.
Doubt about it. Wow. Okay. That's
guys. Aubameyang. That has to be the goal. The eyes are open. You saw that top corner.
Why? Yeah, explain it. Why does Aubameyang deserve this?
Oh well, I think even the build-up. Jeez, they started the ball on the halfway line. It came around back, drew the defenders in, sucked them in. They did exactly what they wanted them to do. Ball to Willian, popped it over, and Aubameyang knew, hey, same thing he did last night in training session. Just tuck that thing in, sort of the top corner, and you put it there. Eyes on the top corner, put it there. That's how I think that goal. But look, I mean that what was it? Was it Nelson? You said who's that kid that scored that goal for Chelsea?
Reece James.
Yeah, that was a cracker.
Yeah,
I just thought it could go anywhere.
Look, the
thing is, it went into the back of the net, top corner. That's the thing.
That's all it was.
Anyway, he says he closed his eyes and just shot.
Imagine.
That's all he did.
Mo Salah here. I think from the comments perspective, we're definitely getting Salah as one of the goals of the weekend. But the reason why I would go with Reece James is because it was his first goal in the Premier League. And that boy smacked it. He put his foot through it. And just, it's one of those that you just hit so sweet. And when you said hit the back of the net, you run around like a mad chicken. So, I've got to lean towards him for that.
And he looks like he has a good educated right foot. He's involved when it comes to the set pieces on the corners. It's not by chance. Yeah.
What happens with Reece James when Azpilicueta is 100% fit?
To be honest, the Chelsea that we're looking at now is very different. Even Marcos Alonso, if Chilwell is looking busy, there's opportunities to be taken on the squad, and it's an exciting place to be as a big team, because you'd rather have, and that's the nice thing, like you'd rather have players knowing that there's quality at the back of them and their positions. Nobody has the opportunity to rest. And when Azpilicueta is perfect, 100%, it's just more competition. Reece James looks like he might have more energy. Azpilicueta might be a little bit more stable. But there's so much riding on how Lampard fixes the attacking third. If he can work that out, then the defenders, it might be a thing where he uses the defenders which are expressive. He uses a fullback which goes the whole way to the byline and gets good balls in. Or he uses an Azpilicueta which could sit. And how he works that out is going to be the mark that shows he's an actual coach that's ready for this type of job at Chelsea. Because if it were given to Mourinho, if it were given to Ancelotti, if it were given to Klopp and the likes, there'd be a structure and a approach which they definitely bring in, and that's what we want to see from Lampard. Like, what's his approach and what is he going to implement with these stars at the moment?
And I think that's a valid point. Moving into the next week's fixtures, I don't want to start with this one, but you're talking about Chelsea now, and we're discussing whether or not Lampard's capable. The Liverpool versus Chelsea game. We know Pulisic did not play this week. Is he resting for this coming game? What do you think he's going to do? How is he going to set up with these new players? Does he throw them in the deep end? Was he just giving them like a little feel for it this week? Or what do we think is going to happen there, lads?
I'm excited. I'm very excited to see what's going to come up between the champions versus the potential champions this season. Pulisic, if you've got Werner and Pulisic up there, it could create a lot of havoc for a lot of defenders, a lot of energy. If you've got Kante and Jorginho sitting tight behind, and then behind them you have Thiago Silva, could be very, very exciting to see a team like that come up. But Liverpool, we can't take anything away from you guys. Your squad is solid. The philosophy is working. There were a few mistakes, but all in all, it looks like a very strong team, which has gelled very, very well. I don't know if Thiago will be ready to come on, but if he comes on for a cameo, I think he'll have a lot to prove as well.
Yeah, I don't think Klopp likes to bet his players in slowly, so I don't think we're going to see him for at least 2 weeks' time making the starting lineup. But I am curious to see what the score prediction would be from Marcelo and Awanga in terms of what's going to happen on the weekend.
I see goals. I see goals on both sides. I definitely see I don't want to listen, right? But with both teams, when I looked at them on the weekend, I cannot say one team was more dominant than the other against their opponents, right? And the opponents were one was a newly promoted team, and the other one was a team that ended lower table. So I would say 1-1, but it will probably be 2-1 to someone. I think it could be 2-1 to Liverpool, to be honest, because I just think because Liverpool have been playing together for a bit, and then Kepa's still in goal, and Lampard is still trying to figure out his team. So let me I'll go for 2-1 to Liverpool on the weekend.
I see a high-scoring game, and I think Chelsea will win it. Honestly, I think Chelsea will win it. I looked at Liverpool, the way they were playing. If they step up, yeah, they could. But I mean, look, let me say, because I have to pick a side, I would say Chelsea. I would say Chelsea are going to win it. It'll be high scoring. I've definitely seen more than 4 goals. There's no spectators in that stadium. It's going to be like close to a training match. Maybe they're all getting used to it, but nothing. I don't think they'll ever get used to the feeling of, playing with fans in a stadium. So it is a big difference. Chelsea take the win. Jorginho scores the last penalty.
How many penalties are going to be there, Chief?
Whether or not United are playing. If United are playing, then there are going to be no penalties in the game because they're all going to be in there.
They'll have to get shifted to United side.
Yeah.
No, but Chelsea, I think will take it.
It is to the points that you guys have already made. It is delicately poised. We have 2 teams. We've got Liverpool who kind of going through the motions, taking the whole champ. They know they're good enough, but they're not firing in all cylinders. And we've got Chelsea who on their day love playing for the big games. So it's one of those BMT moments. Mm-hmm. I know I was like that. When I played against poor opposition, I kind of mulled about a little bit. When I played against the big games, that's when they really got the best out of me. So I kind of feel like it might be a similar situation for Chelsea, even though the players haven't played that long together. I've got someone here. Oh, there we go. Roberto's saying a brace for Werner incoming. And I think that's going to be an interesting challenge to be dealing with up front in the second game of the season for the likes of Gomez as well as Van Dijk, largely because we know how direct this guy is and how quick he is. We know how quick Gomez is and how quick Van Dijk is. But I don't think they've ever come up against something like Werner. And we saw what he did to English opposition when he was playing for Red Bull against Tottenham. Obviously, it's a different caliber player. But yeah. Well, what are you thinking there, Wonga? What did you say? What is the final prediction in terms of score?
Chelsea's going to win it, is what he said.
No, I said there's going to be more than 4 goals. And Chelsea's going to win it.
That's
Definitely more than 4 goals.
You gotta, whatever you say, you've got to live on and die on, because we've got people that are placing bets based on what we're saying. So just be straight with your decision and have conviction.
It's recorded. Like I'm telling you guys, it's going to be 4 goals, and Chelsea are going to win it.
Yeah,
I will not be surprised. I'm telling you now.
Well, I literally just definitely though they if there's a clean sheet in that match, I'll be very surprised. I'll be shocked.
Yeah, 100%. No way.
Look, even as a Chelsea fan, I can't believe like Kepa will be able to keep out any attacks from Liverpool, and Liverpool aren't poised to sit back and watch the next team. Yeah,
I don't see a clean sheet.
As I said, I have my predictions. Like Musa, but I see Claudia's team. I see Claudia's team just because they've been together for 3 years. I just see them just at least just edging it 2-1, and because they have the better goalkeeper and the better centre back partnership, I think that's what And then you guys, man, you will gel eventually. Second round game at Anfield, then you'll beat them.
I agree with that. Like, we really do have to get a squad that can gel. And there are a lot of things that we still have to figure out as Chelsea. This game, though, can create the momentum that Lampard would need to say, okay, this is my starting 11. This is how we're going to go out and figure that out. If he can bring out a team which can beat Liverpool this weekend, it'd be tough for him to then make changes going forward. But yeah, it's look, I wasn't overly impressed with Liverpool as well over the weekend. They didn't look like the cohesive force that they looked like a season or 2 ago, and that does give us room to play. As we will have more ball players on the field who will look for opportunities to actually take them on. And yeah, I mean, I think there are opportunities for Chelsea to take this one.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, if they come out with, or like some of the people are saying over here, if Chelsea come out with a win, it's going to be a huge confidence boost, not only for the players, but for Lampard as manager. But let's move on to the next game, and it's one that's going to talk about.
What's your score prediction? I know you obviously feel that Liverpool will win, but what's your score prediction?
No, I think he doesn't think Liverpool will win.
No, look, I'm of the opinion where I only make a prediction when I'm 100% sure. I think, like you guys have already mentioned, there are going to be a lot of goals because Liverpool aren't doing well at the back, and we know Chelsea's got Kepa in goals, and he's a piece of shit. So we do know that there's a lot of goals pending. It all depends really on what happens with Salah. The thing is, you got to always watch out for his Mane, because Mane tends to outshine Salah when it's a bigger game. So my bet is, so if you guys are looking at your fantasy teams by any chance, I would stick with Mane over Salah this week, because Salah tends to blow really hot and next day it's cold. But yeah, so I'd say it depends on Mane. If Mane has a hot game, then Liverpool will obviously clench it. And obviously, I think it depends on also whether or not Pulisic actually gets a game, because that guy, he loves showing Klopp that. He loves showing
Chelsea for the win. Chelsea for the win.
Just reaffirmed you, Wanga. Just hearing Pulisic.
He's finally got his number 10 jersey, so the man could feel like, he's going to feel like the shit. Anyway, he's not going to be shit. He's going to feel like the shit. Selo, take us through this whole United versus Crystal Palace game that's coming up. What do you think is going to happen there? Obviously, you guys had friendly last week. Coming to this game yet to kick off. The other teams have 3 points already. Does that put you guys in a situation where there's a bit of pressure mounting, or do you think this Crystal Palace is a straightforward outcome?
Nah, I don't think it's straightforward because Palace has already got 90 minutes, competitive 90 minutes under their belt, so they are at an advantage. Many of the Man United players only started training this week on Monday, so it was only the first time that the whole group trained together. So that obviously doesn't help the fact that it's just a week together. People had coronavirus, and so forth. So it's not a straightforward one. But I definitely do see us winning the game. But it's not like we'll blow them away. Players need to still gel in terms of the new signing. And the other guys, obviously, they just came back from holiday. So I think let's say a 2-1 win. Yeah, let me give Palace a goal because they got 90 minutes under their belt. But yeah, United for the win, 2-1. And Bruno Fernandes has scored a penalty.
Penalty, another penalty.
That's given.
I guess Man United is back in the league, so yeah, we'll have to see the penalties come out.
Yeah, I think for me, when I saw,
what are you going to say?
Yo, sorry, just buffered up there. But anyways, I think that definitely Man United would win the game against Crystal Palace. When I saw them come back, it was something that was just in my head. I wouldn't say it out loud, but after coronavirus, I thought that looking at the team and the squad, if they gelled right, they'll be good. And when they came out of coronavirus, they had all their players back. Everyone as a Pop was fit. The Bruno Fernandes, they don't have to name them, but they had everyone there, and they looked a good team.
It looked very exciting.
Steady results. Yeah, kept the results. They did the job. Marcus Rashford, goodness me, assisting and scoring as well. The guy looks very dangerous up front.
Martial kept on impressing me as well after.
Yeah, Martial as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Martial.
Yeah, Crystal Palace, I just think, they're able to put up a fight some days. In fact, always frustrated with Arsenal, but that was last year. But yeah, when I look at Man United team, and if they come out the same way they were playing the same way they play when all their players, I don't think it'll be difficult at all. And they could come out with a clean sheet as well.
Do you know? Actually,
let me just say they will come out with a clean sheet.
When I think about Crystal Palace, actually, is that Crystal Palace? I saw the new signing, Eze, right? The guy that signed from QPR. Kid looks great, man. Like he looks so confident on the. He's like Zaha, but like less flashy. You know what I mean? Less flashy than Zaha. Zaha's too flashy. He tries to do too much, and then he loses the ball and so forth. But Eze, man, he came on for the last 15-20 minutes, and I just feel that. And obviously now, there's rumors that Palace might get Ben Rama from Brentford. So if they get like a Ben Rama, man, I don't think Roy Hodgson is the coach to be continuing with such an exciting team. You know what I mean? Roy Hodgson is a guy who should coach like a team that's boring. You know what I mean? Not a team with exciting players. So I would hope that he would get fired and a manager that like Eddie Howe or someone exciting. I don't know who, but someone like because Roy Hodgson, when he must retire, man,
sorry, someone. Sweet death face. Sorry, Silo. Clearly, you got someone's calling you a cow editor, and then at the same time, someone's calling you an Ashley Young. So I don't know. At United, how loved was he? That's the question.
Yeah, actually, I actually see the resemblance now a little bit. Actually, you look like an Ashley Young.
But also, I see Nick. If Nick is watching, you are missed because Marcus is asking, "Where are you, my friend? Where are you? You are clearly being sorely missed out here." He also says, and I'm going to put the quote up there. He says that Zaha will play at United, and that is facts. Ashley Young, what do you think about that? Playing for your
Hey man, listen. As I said, man, I'm excited with Eze, but obviously he'll start off the bench. But yeah, Zaha. Yeah, he scored a decent goal, but then also he missed a chance to make it 2-0 on the weekend. He's one of those players, man, hot and cold, man. You know what I mean? He'll be brilliant in one game, and the next game he's not as great. You know what I mean? So he's just one of those players that he's very unpredictable. He might be amazing again, or he might just not be great. But yeah, the 90 minutes that they had on the weekend will definitely help them out on against United.
Yeah, it seems like he's got a little bit of a relationship brewing there with is it Townsend, and it seems like they're trying to beat a lot of defenders on the back foot. Which, if I can't recall the players, the left back at Man United now, is it the right-footed player that they put there?
Williams.
Yeah, he could come under strain
the
if Townsend and Zaha are on top of him.
Yeah, true. No, Williams is erratic in the challenge sometimes, and he's young, man. He's 20 years old, so sometimes he doesn't jockey the man. He wants to dive in, which isn't good. But I just hope that Shaw will start. Shaw got some minutes against Villa in the preseason game, so which was good. And then Aaron Wan-Bissaka will play on the right. He obviously was under quarantine. Like so many players were just under quarantine. It's not the best start. You know what I mean? Mata was under quarantine. Bruno Fernandes had to stay in Portugal because his child was being born, and then he only came back on Sunday. Pogba only came back on Friday. You know what I mean? So all these players are coming back. Literally.
Sounds like the excuses already.
When you're actually young, you're still in the WhatsApp group and you're getting all this information. It's fantastic. Thank you for keeping us.
Or it just means the excuses are ready, champ. The man's got a long list of excuses ready.
I do. And I said that's why 2-1. If they had 2 weeks together, I would have said 3-0. But 2-1.
Okay.
Comment section. I'm looking at Sweet Deathface as well as Marcus Curry, and they're saying that there's an argument here between Shaw and Williams. And Sweet Deathface says not up to the mark to wear the United shirt is Williams. Do you agree with that, Celo? This is your club.
So with Williams, right? He's 20. I feel that Williams is a good squad player. So definitely not a starter for United. Definitely not a starter, and that's why we needed to get a left-footed left back. You know what I mean? I never like a right-footed player playing left back because you always have to cut into your right foot. You know what I mean? If you can't pass the ball down the line with your left foot, and you always have to cut to the right, it's not good. So I think, he's right. Don't disrespect Luke Shaw. Man. Luke Shaw is tops. So Luke Shaw will start on the left. And Williams will be a good bench option, man. It's a good bench option to start. I mean, to play in the League Cup and to come off if obviously someone gets an injury. But even long term, I think they are better development players that are probably 2 years younger than him in the right back position. There's a kid by the name of Ethan Laird. He's just been unfortunate with a bit of injury, so he's a year younger than the Williams. So Williams and Ethan Laird, they were both right backs, and because Ethan Laird was the better right back, Williams had to go. You know what I mean?
It's tough out here, man. I see them asking you what foot you are, because you might end up on the left back at Man United as well if you're not careful, Ashley.
Hey man, listen, I'm multi-footed, man. I don't know which one's my best foot.
But I saw Nico Macheke also mentioning that he sees a 3-0 coming from Man United, which could be fair.
He's being kind because he's a Chelsea fan. I'm surprised he said 3-0, but yeah, I'm glad Nico. My boy Nico said that we'll win 3-0, man. You know. I
want to praise this, and I want to say this though. I know Marcus has asked if he wants to hear the Liverpool thoughts for the weekend. We have covered that just before, so we're not going to go into that. So if you want to, when this is finished, you can go and watch it. But I just want to get back to the United point that if they do not get the result that we all think they're going to get on the weekend, United, what does that do to Ole Gunnar? Does he then demand funds from his chairman and say, listen, go give me the players I actually want, or does he keep working with the young players? And again, what I say is, and I'm talking about the Liverpool transfer strategy in particular, it's in terms of signing young players. And I'm talking about the early days when the Liverpool Fenway group took over, signing young players and molding them. And I know for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's important to be able to do that because he can't necessarily demand the respect from your bigger players. His significant point would be signing bigger characters that would then help him do that. You'd get like a soldier on his team like Van from Tux would do with us, Mossa. As an example, you'd have players pretty much building that culture in the dressing room. So for him, it's important to bring in young players. So what kind of pressure is he going to be under if he doesn't get 3 points? That's the question I want to ask you guys.
if he doesn't get the 3 points, I think, man, listen, at the end of the day, the fan base right now is just angry at Ed Woodward and the Glazers right now. You know what I mean? We're not looking at OGS. You know what I mean? We're not looking past that. The only thing, obviously, we can only be critical on about him is the way we play. So obviously, if the performance on the day is not great, you know what I mean? So if his in-game management is poor again, if the tactics that he starts with is poor, then we can obviously be on his case. But it's the first game, and if he loses the game, we won't obviously throw hoorah about it. But yes, he will look back to the board and say, hey, listen, guys, I need some players. I need some creative minded players to bring on the ball. Because at the end of the day, that is the problem. Are you going to bring in the Welsh wizard, the fastest guy ever? You know what I mean? That guy just runs. You know what I mean? That guy, he's great at running, but his final delivery is so poor. You know what I mean? I loved him at the beginning because he gave so much energy. But I think the occasion of playing for Man United got the better of him, and he just couldn't sustain his early performances. So at the end of the day, Solskjaer will just say, "Hey, man, guys, I need some reinforcements." You guys saw if we lose, for instance, we lose 2-1, or Palace wins 1-0, for instance, then you'll say, "Hey, listen, guys, I need reinforcements. I couldn't bring on an attacking substitute because I've got Odion Igalo and Dan James. That's not enough." You know what I mean? So then you'll probably say, "Hey, guys, I need some signings."
Fair point there, Settle, and I like that. I like that last point towards the end there. Wonga, West Ham, Arsenal, West Ham, playing the first game at the Emirates. How's that going to go down, my friend?
One way, Oaks. West Ham. No, I'm pretty confident we'll take it.
One way.
There's no way. There's no way. No way.
This is a big transformation. Arsenal.
No way.
I don't know. I don't know about this. Yo, wow.
Nah, I'm so used to seeing Arsenal like this.
Like, I don't see West Ham doing it. I don't see. I honestly, if West Ham can press Arsenal when they're passing the ball back, then I can see us being in danger. And I can't see West Ham doing that. I think they're going to sit back. It's more. I don't see them pressing Arsenal when they get back. I see them Arsenal being comfortable at the back, and then they're going to try and press them a little bit too late, not trying to make sure that they press them there in the penalty box. And if they're going to let Arsenal to draw them in and pass out, because it's exactly what Pep is doing. Exactly what Pep got to the Premier League. And they're doing it and I think they're doing it very well. If they do that, West Ham, no, I can.
Yeah.
Is there any chance you're going to see Gunduzi?
No, I don't think so. I think the man's done. I think they're trying to ship him out.
Oof.
Yeah, they're trying to ship him out. They're trying to use him as a deal to bring in other players. I know they're strongly linked with
the one player I don't. Yeah, look.
Yeah,
for me, I think we can. I'm sure we can find someone that can replace Gunduzi. I'm not too worried about him. I'm sure we can find someone to replace Shaka as well.
Hey, your Shaka hate, guys, is hectic.
No, we're not talking about on the show. We're done the Shaka. Okay, so Wonga says it's going to be done. It's going to be a straightforward victory. Obviously, West Ham in a crappy situation.
I say 2-0 to Arsenal. 2-0 to Arsenal.
Arsenal 3. Arsenal 3.
West Ham have been sloppy, so you can see goals coming from Aubameyang. I do think you're going to see a few more goals coming from the rest of the squad as well. So I think a 2-0 from Arsenal would be an impressive result for them.
Yeah, I think saying one way is a bit of a highway statement where things, we know that Arsenal aren't on any highway as of yet. They're only just leaving their garden. So there's two ways going. So I think there's a chance for an upset. There's a chance, but it's a huge but.
I think. Look, I think last time Arsenal played.
Sorry, what's that?
No, let's go to the point. Yeah, I like this one. Go next. one. It's fine.
He's happy.
Listen, I couldn't hear what you said before. It's fine, bro.
Follow through. You know, we all know what happens when you don't follow through. 50-50 is you get seriously injured. Okay, so we're gonna go Man City, Wolves. We've got the Portuguese B side against Pep Guardiola's first game of the season. What are we thinking here?
They have to prove they're the best, right?
One, eh?
Yeah, Man City just have to come out showing that they are Man City. Pep Guardiola's got the squad figured out. They've got talent every position of the field. It's just to see. It's going to be similar to with our inspection of Liverpool, where you actually want to see the team start off on song as opposed to rumbling and tumbling and trying to get points, picking up points loosely. I think Man City have to start with the right impetus and the right approach, and I think they definitely will under Pep.
Is Laporte, is he now negative of COVID, man? And Murray's, because I remember the two of them had coronavirus. So I just wonder if they've been training. You know what I realized actually, man, is that I actually don't have much Man City traffic on my Twitter because there's Man City fans. You know, so for instance, you know, because I have Arsenal people that I follow, people that I know that support Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, you know what I mean? So then you kind of get to know stuff about their team because they retweet it or like it or whatever. But Man City, man, I don't know what's happening, man. I just know that those guys got coronavirus, and then now I know nothing about Man City. Like, literally, I don't know what came back to training. I don't know what's going on. But I feel that with that game, it'll be quite interesting. Man City still need one more signing in the center of defense. Cool. The attack is firing. You know, Jesus, Sterling, Perez, Bernardo, Foden. You know, KD.
It's a long list.
Yeah, it's quite a long list. So I think obviously Man City will not want to be behind. You know, because obviously with what Liverpool did last season with the great start, they will have the pressure to already get 3 points. And obviously they'll already be a game behind Liverpool, so they'll want to win. But Wolves looked impressive against Sheffield. Or maybe is it because Sheffield were poor, but they started hot, and Wolves never start hot. I mean, Wolves never start hot. Adama Traore was looking hot. Jimenez, clinical, whatever. So it'll be a tough game, man. I don't know if it will be a 1-1 or a 2-1 to City, but either goal lines. Even if Wolves wouldn't surprise me if they won as well.
Yeah, man, and I think the way in which Wolves ended the season, and Mossa mentioned this last week, teams tend to start the new season the way in which they end. And they were firing on cylinders. They were unlucky in the Europa. They've got Adama Traore who's found this. He's a newfound Hulk in that Wolves jersey. And all of a sudden there's talk about him going back to Barca, and it's a big player that they regret not keeping on their books, etc., etc., etc. He was a player who severely lacked a certain amount of confidence, and now he's playing from the right wing back. He's bombing forward. He's playing behind the striker. He's doing a lot of things, and on his day is completely unplayable. Which is why I'm really fascinated in terms of why we should be talking about this game in particular. Because, like you guys have already mentioned about Man City, they've signed 1 or 2 players. They still haven't found that centre back, which is their huge weakness at the moment. And there has been talk about Koulibaly from Napoli. That hasn't happened yet. Now they're talking about another Atletico Madrid centre half that they're seeing as a cheap alternative. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen. But the issue is at City is that they play one way, and they push very high up in the field, leaving a lot of space in behind for a player like Adama Traore. And I think Nuno Espirito Santo there at Wolves has done a fantastic job. And there's a reason why I say it's the Portuguese B squad, because a lot of those players are getting their call-ups to the Portuguese team. And because Jorge Mendes, who is co-owner / agent, will dominate. He's also Ronaldo's agent. So, and if you look at Raul's finish on the weekend, I mean, what a quality striker. The ball gets played. He is, you talking about, when you asked the question about Roberto Firmino earlier, and you're talking about a number 9, he's the number 9 you were referring to when you're talking about that question. He's that number 9 that he lurks into the box, and he's got all types of finishes. He puts his foot through it. He taps it in. He heads that thing. He just finds the way. And the calmness, I just pictured when Mossa was playing up front at Varsity Cup when the ball got played into the box, or myself, if I got played, We don't finish the ball like that. That thing lands up far into the stands. And the way in which he just knew how to pull his foot back and just put it in the corner.
Wait, are you saying I was the one landing it in the stands or in the back of the net?
Well, if it was with your head, it was in the back of the net. It was in your feet. You confused the two in terms of clearance and strikes.
You're confusing me because I never seen balls go to the stands, man. Not on my foot.
He's saying against the top 6, which is the other thing. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that City are going to walk away this weekend without 3 points in the bag.
Oof.
One guy to contribute in this conversation.
Look, I think City, Wolves, I think last year they did a double on City. The first at home, they beat them by scoring 3 goals. And I think when they were away, they scored 2. And Man City had no reply for that. It was 2-0. And every time, even during that year as well, when they played each other, it was Wolves always were always a problem for Man City. I know Pep Guardiola even knows it himself. It's going to be a frustrating to have to craft. Do they have the players to do it? Of course they do. I can't even. I don't know. It depends. I really don't know. I can't even call a side. Every game I watch there, I really don't know what's going to happen.
That's where we are with. If we're asking this question 6 months ago, a year ago about City against Wolves, it would be a completely different approach. But I guess it reflects how much Man City have fallen back after the Champions League losses and the last leg of the EPL run.
Yeah, and I find it's going to be. It's a situation we've never seen Pep Guardiola before. He's been at a club longer than what he's ever been at. He's had time to build it in the way in which he's wanted to build it. In terms of throwing money at the problems is how he addresses things, and he's done that successfully. Except now he's got a new challenge where the likes of Liverpool have caught up, and they're setting the pace now. So how does he keep up with the pace that's been set? And that's the big question that he has to answer and prove doubters wrong. And if you're looking at his Champions League record, which is why he was brought in the first place, it's been dreadful. It's been dreadful, and I feel like I don't think they're going to do any better this season from a Champions League perspective. If you look at what De Bruyne's attitude was post-match in the interview in terms of going, it was the same old City. I do think culturally within that squad, there's a bit of an issue, and there's a bit of a voodoo on the Champions League in itself, which is kind of, they can win everything else up until that point, but until they win the Champions League, that's going to be the big question mark. And I think if they do start poorly, midway season, there's a huge, this is going to be an outrageous statement because it's Pep Guardiola, but there's a huge chance that he either walks away or he gets sacked. That's one of the, so he needs to get these 3 points, but I think it's going to be a fantastic challenge for them to face on a big pitch against a team like Wolves that are geared up in a counter-attacking setup.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer Man City would go without winning a league or Champions League and keeping Pep on. It's a good point that you raise it. Potentially, he also has to figure out what he's there for, with Man City.
Yeah, it was quite a big topic at the end of last season to say, has his reign at Man City been a success? You know what I mean? And I was telling people that it's been a success on the domestic front. You know what I mean? He's won the FA Cup, League Cup, Premier League more than once. He's won all those trophies more than once. But in the European stage, he's just faltered at the quarterfinals. He's not gone past the quarterfinals, which is very poor. And also the opposition that he came against this past one, where he faced the Lyon team. Lyon weren't a team where you should change your starting lineup for them. You know what I mean? It's a team you must impose yourself. Your starting lineup is a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. Now he's playing a different formation, playing people out of position. He's trying to overthink things. He must just impose himself on the game, and that's where you'll get the results. You know what I mean? And another season where he didn't even bring on Sané against Tottenham, where they lost to Tottenham. So his decision making in the Champions League has been very weird. You know, it's not the Pep Guardiola that we've come to know at Barcelona and even at Bayern. Even at Bayern, at least he made the semi-finals, But like at Man City, man, he's just missing something, you know what I mean? Maybe this is the, as you said, it's a voodoo. Maybe it's the Arsenal UEFA Champions League voodoo now at Man City.
Yeah, and the Arsenal
apparently Arsenal have that voodoo.
Which teams is the reason it's voodoo because they just can't cross the line. But Guardiola does do this thing where he gets too cute, he gets too clever.
Yeah,
it's almost like he's envious of Claudio Ranieri for being called the Tinkerman, and he's like, I want that title. And so sometimes there's no need. And if you look at both teams coming up against each other right now, you've got a Wolves that know who they are, they know their identity, they've got players that are pushing for places. They've signed a lot of young Portuguese guys that want to make a mark on the footballing world and be the next Cristiano Ronaldo. And then you've got a City that are going to flip, make to hold up. And
hey, the voodoo man is gone.
Yeah, voodoo.
It's getting cold.
Yeah, we've done it again. We've got carried away. It is only our second episode. We are going to get better in terms of managing our time. Let's call the predictions. We're going to start a Selo. Let's go to Mosa because I don't know what Wonga's doing. And then we're going to end off with Wonga in terms of final predictions. Selo, in terms of the City.
Or City. Yeah, my prediction is 1-1.
Okay, my prediction is about 3-0. Yeah, I've mentioned the reasons before.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I would say City to win 2-0. And that's because they lost. They did a double on them last year, and I don't think City will allow that to happen again. Well, they shouldn't. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a Wolves win here, largely because I think Pep Guardiola is going to be overthinking it, and Wolves are going to rock up and spoil the party. I'm going to say 2-0, possibly 2-1, but more 2-0 towards the Wolves. Yeah.
But the game will be entertaining. That I can say.
Man City won't score a goal.
The game will be entertaining.
It depends. It depends on who's playing up front. Obviously, if it goes Aguero, the question then is, does Aguero last 90 minutes? We know he doesn't. So if Aguero is firing off the bat, then they score a goal. But if he's not, I don't think they're going to score if he doesn't play.
I still see Jesus coming in with a couple of goals. They have options. They've got options to get something from the encounter.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
All right. And just like that, guys, it's our second episode. Thank you for everyone who tuned in and watching. We've managed to get 15 people watching live, guys. Come on. Yes.
Hey, celebration.
That's good.
Well, second episode. Keep going. We're going to play with our time and stick to our topics. And also, guys, when I send you guys mailers as to what we're going to talk about, let's stick to that. Okay. All right. Okay. But don't mention it, because for me, you need a whole episode by himself.
I think the problem is, man, is just man, you can't. Sometimes you just don't know. You can't. The time is the time, and you know what I mean. Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United. There's a lot to talk about these teams, man. Come on.
Yeah. Next time. Let's give Liverpool like 2 minutes. Give Man United 2 minutes. Give Arsenal 2 minutes, and then Chelsea we can give 10, 15. Because big teams deserve that one time.
Yeah. Hey.
We ran now. Look, we ran over time because of these smaller teams.
Wait, one more. Nico says Macheke says Wolves to win 3-1. You see, I like Macheke. He might be on the show in the future just because we think this
it won't happen, guys.
All right, everybody. Thanks for showing up, guys. We'll see you guys next week, same time.
Cool stuff.
Cheers.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.